Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Today we are also going to be trading NQ again. Got a lot of requests to keep trading NQ as I think it's working for a lot of you. So we are just going to hop right into it. As you can see here, you might initially think that this would be a regression mode range here. However, it is not. We can figure it out by measuring the distance between these two areas, and it is over 60 ticks. That is significantly larger than our 18 tick take profit, meaning that we want to take advantage of rainbound action, so we're going to be arming it in both directions in trend mode. If we get another choppy zone similar to this area here, but with more of a continuance, that would be more considered a regression mode switch, as there are a lot of adjacent bars. Just playing the waiting game here, we're not getting a ton of movement at this time. However, we just gotta, at this point, not make any decisions that are going to affect our trading results. Not totally sure what's going on with these numbers here. It's not a usual occurrence. I think that had something to do with me changing the font size. Yeah, there we go. I think we just had to expand it a little bit more. Just got filled into our first trade there. We are going to be rearming it, as well as in trend mode. We're not doing a mode switch. Barely there, almost got stopped out, super close. Unfortunately, first trade of the day is resulting in a loss. However, we did have that automatic stop chase, minimizing our losses. So we took about a third of the loss that we would have taken if we had a 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio. We're going to be keeping it in trend mode at this point. If we close and we're inside of another range here, we could get a formation right here as well as right here, but it is very, very preemptive to say that. So we'd have to wait for that price action to happen. However, I do want to tell you guys that we are waiting for that. Just got filled into a long trade here. I'm going to be rearming it in both directions as well in preparation for a new trade. If we do get stopped out on this, I am going to be switching it into regression mode. A little bit unfortunate, we're really just not getting a ton of momentum in our favor in the beginning. However, we're not going to be super worried about that. Gonna probably have my button here. Yeah, so we did end up losing 2 consecutive trades there. So now we are at negative $673 for the day. Fortunately, those were minimal losses in terms of what we're looking for from a regression move. Got filled into our first regression trade of the day. We're going to be automatically rearming it in both directions. If we get, okay, there we go. We got filled on that trade, bringing us back to almost break even. This is going to confirm that range that I was suspicious of earlier. So I'm going to be marking out these two levels here. These are just rough ranges. This is not a confirmation that we are going to be having a ton of support and resistance at these levels. However, we're going to be watching them, and if we get a very strong breakout in either the long or short direction, we would be switching it into trend mode. Keeping an eye on delta here, making sure that if we do switch, it would need to be a very, very high correlation between delta and price for us to make the trend switch. Just got filled into a long trade, which is very interesting in a regression mode polarity setting. And we get filled pretty quickly. That is actually going to lead us to switch into trend mode. Like I said earlier, we're getting a very strong breakout, as well as the confirmation that we got filled on a trade there. We do have to watch out for this red band here. So keep that in mind, that we may make a regression mode switch if we do not consistently get any positive price action that pushes us out of this automatically marked red support level or resistance level from absorption that was marked by the Analytica chart 4+. Fortunately, we're now positive for the day. You can see there just how quickly you can get back into the green when you're using that stop chase. You can win, you can lose some consecutive trades, but fortunately, since you have a skewed risk reward for the most part, or at least on average, you do get a pretty good advantage in that way. You can see here that this bar is kind of taking a while to form. Not getting the positive price action that we're looking for that continual trend mode switch. So we are going to be adjusting back into regression. As we can see, price ends up moving back into this range. You can see the new adversary detection working quite well at keeping us out of any bad trades. See here, we get filled into a trade pretty quickly. It's a long trade again. This one, if we get stopped out here, we are going to make the trend mode switch, which we end up having. We get stopped out back down to negative $136, but we get filled into a trend mode selection pretty quickly there. And we get filled right off the bat. So we're not really making a ton of progress at the moment. However, I am hoping that we get some consistent price action. We're having a lot of different market states happen at once. You can see that we've made quite a few mode switches within the last few minutes. I mean, it's been less than 10 minutes since the live stream started, and we've already switched it about 4 times. So this is definitely a more difficult time to trade. Today is a not exactly super beginner friendly, but I think it'll help you guys to understand the technicals of how this works. If we were into this range before, we are going to be switching it back into regression, at least until we get some kind of other indication that delta is not going to be following that path. Excuse me, guys, sorry. You can see after that explosive bit of volatility there, sort of calming down now, getting just a little bit of consolidation before the market continues to give us actionable trade movement. If we bounce off this bottom, oh, it looks like we got filled into a trade there, cutting off what I was going to say. If we do get stopped out here, we are going to be switching into regression. It's a pretty tough day to trade, I will say. Yeah, going to be switching it back into regression mode there. Not easy, but we are going to keep trading it. You can see just so many mode switches. We're getting faked out kind of a lot. Probably the most difficult day I've traded in the past few months, so there's something there. I think we're handling it pretty decently though. It should be pretty obvious to you guys why we're in regression mode now. You can see a ton of adjacent bars there and just not a ton of correlation between delta and price. You can see this one, negative 20 delta on a blue bar. This one, we have a red bar and 40 delta. And just consistently not really giving us a ton of correlation there. Just got filled into a regression trade there. Going to be arming it back in both directions. Almost instantly filled into out of that trade. I think that if we had stayed in regression the entire day, we'd be having a lot more success here, as I think almost all of our trend mode trades have failed. Going to be rearming it in both directions there. Got filled off that one pretty quickly. Playing the waiting game at this point. Get filled into a long trade in regression. Oh man, that should have filled us right there, but that's unfortunate. But we got filled there. Back up to $1,800 profit. We're starting to get a little bit of ground here. We have a pretty good cushion at the moment. I will say I don't think I made any mistakes today. I think it was just you're gonna lose some trades. That's just how trading works. But you win more than you lose, and that's how trading is. Then again, super difficult day today, guys, so don't blame me if you're also struggling a little bit, at least in the beginning. Hopefully here we get a nice amount of price action that is within this range so we don't have to do any more mode switching. not a ton going on right now, but we're just observing and making sure that we aren't getting any kind of explosive price action that would lead us to switch into trend mode. What's interesting is that this previous bar had a ton of volume, so we might be seeing some action. Looks like there we got filled almost immediately after I said that into a short trade, a regression short trade specifically, and we got filled almost immediately after that. So as you can see, we are taking advantage of this volume profile there. So we had this sort of bell curve-esque price action there, moved up to the extreme, got almost no volume up here, and then we nooked back down to that area after an imbalance. So that's what led us to get filled on that trade. Just sitting here in this absorption zone here, you can see that by those blue and yellow boxes. Starting to get some downward pressure there. We do get an automatically marked level there getting broken, but we need some confirmation. This is a little bit, I don't think this would consider this a immediate move downward unless we get a close on this bar with a lot of momentum downward. We're at the bottom of our RSI there, so, or reverse RSI. So it's just, we need to be aware of that. Can't make any preemptive moves. I think some preemptive moves in terms of switching modes has kind of screwed us over today, so I'm especially vigilant about that, at least going forward. Get filled there into a short trade. So if we get filled in this trade, okay, we got filled in that trade, we're switching it into trend mode. That is enough confirmation to put us into a trending market in the downward direction. Put into a short trade again off the bat. Yeah, now we're getting some movement. Pretty intense here. Once we broke that level, had a little bit of a fight, and then now we're just getting some serious downward pressure. Get put into a short trade here, right after a upward movement. Unfortunately, we get stopped out there. So we might be re-entering a regression-esque market, but we'll have to see. These trends have been slow and are fast and short. So if we aren't able to take advantage of those within a pretty short amount of time, it ends up disappearing. That's why I kind of like a regression market more, because there's a lot more movement that's in a range-bound area. Futures offers you the leverage to make a lot of money off of very, very decimal point percentage moves, where the market isn't actually moving that much, but there is in terms of futures movement, where you have so much leverage that you are able to capture moves like that. Get filled into a long trade there. Interestingly, I think that we are going to be getting a range form on this area, so I would not be surprised if this trade ends up stopping out. And if it does stop out, we are going to be switching it back into regression there. Yeah, it's a little unfortunate, but blew through our zone here, so get put into a long trade there in regression. See if it puts us back into this range. Yeah, today's just not our day, man. I think we're really making correct decisions here, but the market's being a little bit difficult to trade. You can see here that we're just almost at our take profit there, and then we just get moved downward. So that's kind of unfortunate. Super difficult market to trade today. Filled there, back up to $3,000 profit. Going to be keeping it in regression mode at the moment. Today's not exactly a model day to trade, but it's important to highlight how exactly to handle days like this. So I'm glad we're streaming today. We're still positive $3,000 on the day. I'd say that's actually a pretty good win rate, considerably so. I'd say we're probably averaging a 67 to 63% win rate today, but because of that skewed risk reward, it's giving us a pretty good boost to that effective win rate, if you may. Keeping it in regression mode here, we're going to try and continue to take advantage of this range, or of this possible range at least. We're getting choppy adjacent bars here, and do have at least good amount of delta price action correlation, but you can see almost filled there, then it popped us back down. Our take profit might be just a little bit too loose for this market, but I think the auto optimization machine learning update that we're going to release soon is going to really help solve that. You can see there that almost filled, and awesome. So filled on that one, and we're up to $3,600 on the day. Get put into a consecutive trade here on some short. unfortunately, we end up losing that one. And even after all these years of trading is just still a massive adrenaline rush for me. So hard to fight the urge to exit trades early and mess up your strategy. So if you guys struggle with that, I do too. Pretty sure my heart rate like doubles when I'm trading, or at least when I'm in a trade. Gonna be rearming in both directions there. Get filled pretty quickly off the bat. You can see we're still actually making progress. Even though I think the last 4 to 5 trades have been just 50% win rate, we are continuously increasing the account balance, or the P&L on today's account. That is what is ideal about the skewed risk reward system. I think we did have one trade today that did not meet the threshold to push our take profit or our stop loss to closer to our break even, but we're not really feeling the effects of that. Get put there into a long trade, get filled very, very quickly. We only need one more trade to reach our profit target for today. Put into a short trade there. Actually, I don't need to be rearming it, at least at this point. If it moves closer to our stop loss, I will be rearming it, but if we end up winning this, we'll be finished for the day. Looks like that's it, guys. Got up to $5,000 on our daily P&L. Pretty excited about that. That was a really difficult day to trade, guys, so I don't blame you if you struggled a little bit at the beginning and even at the end there, because that was definitely some times where I wanted to switch modes, but made sure I didn't, and that ended up leading us to getting that profit target for the day to where we want it to. Whew. That was pretty hard, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we are going to be streaming again this week. I'll be posting on YouTube and sending out an email detailing exactly when. I think I'll probably be streaming. Yeah, we'll do Friday. So I'm going to be streaming on Friday this week at 8:30 a.m. PST. So remember, that's Pacific Standard Time. That is 3 hours behind the Eastern Standard Time, which is what I think most of you guys are on in terms of when the market trades. So that was pretty intense. That was an intense session. I think I'm gonna go on a walk right now. But thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys on Friday.